We're talking to Mr. Collier and Mr. Perry, both webmasters and both responsible for developing websites at their own areas. And of course, we mean NashvilleBlack.com with you, Mr. Collier, and with the hospitality and tourism department at Tennessee State University with you, Mr. Perry. But before we end the show for today, let's take the last 6 minutes that we have here and give both of you an opportunity to continue our conversation dealing with the computer, the internet, and the digital divide by now talking about new technology that you think would be important in terms of helping to bridge this digital divide gap. Not only do you need a computer, but you need a better computer. And so let's do it from that perspective by talking about new technology. Mm-hmm. Let's start with you, Mr. Perry. And,
well, again, as I was saying before, to have an old computer really hurts you more than it does to have something that is upgraded, because you're always going to be adding a new modem, some more memory, a new hard drive, and then a lot of times your motherboard that's in that computer won't handle a lot of the new equipment, so you have to get a new motherboard. And by that time, you've done purchased a brand new computer without actually buying a brand new computer. So you might as well go ahead and put your money aside and wait until you can't afford to go ahead and buy you a brand new computer off the top. And that way you'll be set for at least 3 to 4 years.
Right, and when you're dealing with the software that's coming out now, you see a lot of software have on the side of the box minimum requirements. You might say 160 megahertz, and really that needs to be double, okay?
As a minimum.
As a minimum, right. It needs to be 300 or 400 megahertz. It'll say a lot of older computers have 16 megabits of memory. And you know that needs to be, if it says 16, that really needs to be 32. So, like he was saying, when you're thinking about older computers, it only makes you frustrated, and it'll turn you away. So that's why it's very important that go ahead and upgrade to that new computer. And like I said, if you can't right now, save up to make that move.
It's also getting to the point to where even as webmasters, the software is changing so much, where you got these dynamic HTML codes, you got Code Fusion that's coming around, you got XMTL, you've got a bunch of different software. And if you're really going to get into the computer, you're going to have to learn to develop and what we call stick and move. You always got to learn how to grasp the technology that's there and make sure it integrated into what you're doing now. So you always got to keep up to date on the things that are going around you in the technology field. You
know, I think with Spirit, of course, I think what the two of you are also saying is that not only should there be new computers, but also there ought to be some kind of situations created so that people who don't have access to a computer might also have access. Now, what are we doing in the communities in terms of community-based organizations and et cetera, help increase the number of computers that are available for our young people or for anybody in the community?
Well, I know a lot of the churches are starting to jump on board with purchasing new computers and getting the cable modem access at their church. There's always the library. So those would be the main two community centers. And that's one area that NashvilleBlack.com is looking at, is we're trying to see how we can somehow work with the community centers to enhance their technology and get them on board get them caught up from the digital divide.
And don't forget, you know, you still have community colleges that are willing to work with some people. There's also your local high schools, and if your kids don't have one at home, they always have some of them set up in the libraries at those schools. So they are available. It's just a matter of getting to them sometimes.
And so there's greater access in terms of the ability to now have reach a computer, even though the individuals might not necessarily own a computer, they have access to a computer, and and these computers are generally better updated and more realistic than some of the earlier computers that many of us might have in our homes.
Right. Like I said, I know more and more churches are starting to upgrade their systems because the software is changing daily. And like I said, Microsoft, which is pretty much the main player, along with Apple, Macintosh, but Windows is getting ready to launch their new operating system. So the operating system, which operates and controls the everything that pretty much goes on in the computer, that's getting ready to change. So we're going to have to stay updated. Okay, and of course, let me thank both of you for coming by and giving us that excellent information today. And to understand that indeed, not only will the computer be important, it's almost essential, and it's not a choice in a real sense as to whether or not a person can decide whether or not he or she will become proficient on a computer. Right. That it's going to be almost impossible to exist and to live, and especially make a very, very productive kind of life without having some access to a computer. Okay, and of course, let me thank both of you for bringing that excellent information by this morning. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.